What's up, Lego builders? Welcome back to Coconut Brick Studios for week 5 of building the Battle of Coruscant in Lego. I got 2 very big Lego hauls in from Bricklink this week. One of them was the most expensive I've ever made, which was kind of unfortunate, but that means I have almost unlimited possibilities for what I can work on this week because I got parts in for the building section, skyscrapers, sidewalk, base, buildings, all of that good stuff. A few things that I want to focus on this week are getting all of the external walls built out of plate for the residential side of buildings. And then over on the clone base section, I want to get the walls built up to the proper height, and I want to start laying out the yellow tile and get some of that base floor tiled off with the dark bluish gray tile. All in all, there's going to be a lot of jumping around, a lot of cool stuff to see, and if you're excited to see it all go down, don't forget to execute Order 66 on that like button, and while you're down there, consider subscribing and tapping that little notification bell so you will be notified as soon as my next video drops. I made a decision for the opening of the base. I decided I'm going to go all dark bluish gray inside here, so all this is going to have to be torn up, unfortunately, but I just think it'll look better. And I also got some doors in place. So these are pretty simple doors. You can see they don't close all the way. They leave a little bit of the doors exposed when it's open all the way, but I like that because one, I can grab it, and I just think it looks cooler when your doors are exposed a little bit. This is what they look like. They're just simple brick walls with a little bit of a dark bluish gray border around the edge to make it look a little bit fancier than if it was just a solid color. They just slide into these gaps. So I ended up tearing up this front section of the wall and opening it up one stud to create a gap for these doors to be able to slide in and out of. And they're not going to be all the way built. Like, these are going to end up being destroyed because the droid army is going to be moving through here, so I want them to have, like, blown open the base and a bunch of droids are in there fighting. But I wanted to have them built all the way first just because I wanted to see what they looked like. And sometimes it's just easier to build something all the way and then go back through and take it apart and make it look broken. And another thing, this is going to be the final height for the base walls. I wasn't sure how tall to make them. Just because, while this is a military base, it's on Coruscant, so obviously these walls aren't so much for defense as maybe like privacy and security, and so I didn't want to make them too short that you could see in, if you're just walking on the street, but I also didn't want to make them too tall and waste time and money on bricks. I think this is a good height. I came up with this height because it's just barely taller than the lampposts, so if you're in the base at eye level with this wall, you won't be able to see the lamppost, and for some reason that just felt like a good height. Now I have a very massive and very important haul to show you guys. This and this are 2 separate Bricklink orders. This one, in fact, is the most expensive Bricklink order I have ever made, so really excited to get these parts. This should hopefully help take care of a lot of the clone base. I'm not going to show you everything that's in these packages because that would be boring and take forever, but I got a ton of dark bluish gray and light bluish gray brick. Just a ridiculous amount for the roads, base walls, other stuff like that. I have honestly never seen Legos bagged like this. Like, what is this? It's almost like a plastic grocery bag, but they're sealed somehow. Super weird. I've got some pieces in here for another mock building challenge video I'm going to make. A ton of dark bluish gray tile for the base. And then the last thing for this haul is a bunch of yellow tile. This is going to be for markers on the base floor to kind of lay out sections for the tanks, roads, walkways, all that kind of base stuff. And in the smaller package, we've got a bunch more brick. I just ordered so much brick, but one very crucial piece came in this order. It's one I've been waiting for a while, and it's these bracket pieces. So now I should be able to wall off this entire block of buildings. I'm happy to finally have that haul of parts in so I can work more on this block of buildings. I'm a little annoyed with how little progress seems to have been made over here, so I want to get as many of the walls done as possible, and then I can start on the roof and the interior. Plus, I've never really tried out this technique of making buildings out of plate in a large scale that needs to be structurally sound, so I want to make sure that it's going to work right and be able to capture the shapes that I need for this section, and be able to support those skyscrapers that are going to be sitting on top. Okay, this progress check should give you guys the best idea so far of what's happening over here. I got a ton more of the plate walls set up. This entire side's done, front's done, that side's done. I think this is going to really capture the look of Coruscant that I'm going for, with a lot of those kind of square, blocky sections of buildings, apartments, whatever you want to call them, with the skyscrapers built on top of those. Over here, I finished off this little like utility maintenance section. It's just got a little ladder built into the wall, some pipes right here, a little generator turbine kind of thing, and then over here, emergency shut-off valve with a little pressure gauge next to it, and then I'll put a little light on there to kind of symbolize that it's locked and you need some kind of badge or authentication thing to access it. That way, people aren't just messing around up there and shutting things down. I really like how that looks. I think this adds some fun detail to this building section, and that's really its only purpose. I didn't want this thing to be a complete rectangle. That's why I added that section right there, that thing, and I want to do more of those on other areas of the mock. I did also get this side finished, and that kind of segues me into what I want to talk about next. So you can see there's a door right here that I built into the side of this wall. I decided I wanted this to be an apartment complex, but I didn't really have any good way to signify that because there weren't going to be any windows or apartment balconies or anything in this on the exterior of this wall. So what I decided to do is cut out a section right here. Is to actually build a hallway right here. You can see with this that's what I'm doing with this dark bluish gray plate and tile, and then put a wall running along the entire length of this with doors built in. You can have I'll have little numbers, maybe like a light switch, or maybe like some kind of little lamp that's lit up to signify people come in this doorway and then they go their different ways. Maybe I'll create an elevator right here that leads up to other buildings that are higher up, and then you can imagine there are doors on this side as well. I felt like that would be a good way to add some fun detail to this and to add somewhat of an interior, even if it's just going to be the outside of the apartments. And this will be a good opportunity for me to integrate some lights into this mock. I've had people ask if I'm going to light this up, and as of right now I'm not really going to light up the exterior, and the reason being is this is all exposed. The light from my lamps, from the light up on the ceiling shines down and lights and illuminates this whole thing. So I feel like if I were to add lights, it would be a little bit underwhelming, to be honest. And it would be kind of hard to see them unless I had all the lights turned off, and then all you could see would be the lights on the mock and you couldn't really see the mock itself. But over here, this is going to be just a little hallway. So there's going to be, a wall right here and then a roof. So there's just going to be this little exposed chunk of hallway right here. And I think the lights will do a great job of illuminating it. Anyways, that's it for this section. I am going to jump back over to the clone base and start working on the ground. I need to finish up both the base walls. They're up to the correct height by the doors, but not in the back. So once that's done, I can figure out what the top of the walls is going to look like, if I'm going to have electric wire up there, barbed wire or something. I do have an issue with the floor of this base. I had to raise up the tile in the front of the door by one plate so that it would be as tall as those slopes on the front that lead onto the road. This means that the front tile is higher up than the rest of the base floor. So I either need to put down another layer of plate across the entire floor of the base to bring it up to the correct level, or put some slopes down on the other side of that raised section to bring it back down to the level of the rest of the base. I'm going to try this option first, as it will, if it does work out, it'll save me a lot of time and money. Now that I have that figured out, I can start to tile off the base floor. I'm going to start with some yellow tile and mark out paths and parking areas for vehicles and minifigures to help me with the organization and layout of everything. And I think it'll look more like an actual military base this way. I'll have 2 slots for tanks on the side I'm working on, and then on the other side will be the buildings. Once those yellow lines are in, I'll fill in the rest with dark bluish gray plate and tile.
Thank you.
This is really starting to look like a city block now. So I got some tiling done. I didn't do all of it. I just wanted to do enough to lay out the parking areas for these two tanks and kind of get a feel for the size of this main road and just where, this section of lines are going to go. I can put in the dark bluish gray plate as I go at my leisure. These were just the things that needed to go in all at once. I did buy some printed tiles that I wanted to put in here. I've got some of these just like I don't even know what you would call these. Basically, just like hazard lines, like don't cross these lines. This is as far back as these can go. And then right here, we've got a couple of arrows. These are pointing as an exit. I'm really happy with how this is looking. This little jump up here, one plate, honestly doesn't bother me. I thought maybe it would look weird if all of this base floor wasn't on the same plane as right here. What I'm still trying to decide is what to do with these yellow lines. How far out do I want to continue them? Do I want to run them all the way to the road? Because I'm planning on making this section dark bluish gray as well. So I'm like, should I stop them at the gate? Would that look weird, or should I just run them all the way until it planes down here into this larger road? And I want to talk about these base buildings, but really quick, speaking of printed tiles, check this out. So on a stream a while back, we were talking about how good pizza was, and everyone said I should put a pizzeria in the mock, so I bought 2 pizzas and a pizza box for the coming soon, well, maybe not soon, but a pizzeria that's going to be over there. Thought that was pretty cool. And then over here, I've got some manholes or little grates. I really want to include these on the sidewalks or the street somewhere, but I'm still not sure how or where I'm going to do that. What a week. This mock is really coming together. I've run into a lot of small issues, but nothing major, nothing that's like held up progress on this mock. I have had stuff like that with future mocks, so it's really nice to experience just a smooth mock series. I'm sure I'll run into more problems as I continue onward, but so far everything's been coming together pretty nicely. All that being said, let's hit the outro. Another week down, and oh baby, am I happy with how this mock is looking. As I was finishing up the final update for this week, I was looking at the mock and just taking it all in, and it's crazy to think like this already looks like a city. You've got lampposts, sidewalks, road, like you can see it physically coming together. And that's kind of unique for a large scale mock project for me personally. So I'm excited to see these future sections go forward. And I'm almost wondering if like each section will basically be complete by the time I move on to the next one. So this mock will be completed in sections, or if I'll get to a point where it's like, okay, I want to start the layout on the next one, and then I'll jump back and finish the previous section first. I don't really know. All I know is next week I'm going to be building a barracks and hopefully an armory for the clone base. Don't forget to let me know what you thought about this update in the comments, and I will catch you guys next time. But until then, happy building.